Chag Purim Sameach, everybody. It's Rabbi Rudin. I just want to remind you that Purim starts on Thursday night, and we will be having our service on Zoom at 6:30 on Thursday night. I wanted to just really ask some questions. We all know that Judaism begins and continues and goes on and on with questions, with wanting to know and with trying to understand this, the richness of the Torah and of our heritage. So I'm going to start with just 5 questions about Purim. That's all. 5 questions really about the Megillah in part 1 of this little mini series, little course. And then part 2 we'll try to answer those questions. I'm hoping that each part will only take about 5 minutes. So may this be a good preparation for Purim for us all. I wanted to dedicate our learning today to the Refuah Hashlema, to the full and complete healing of Mindel Bat Yeta, and also for the Ilui Neshama, for the ascent of the soul of Sam Frost, the beloved father of Alan Frost, father-in-law of Judy. So here it is, Purim by Nacht. We read the Megillah at night. So question 1 is, what? Aren't we not supposed to read holy books at night? Isn't there a whole thing about that it's seen as disrespectful by having to peer closely and lift it up, that we're supposed to read the holy books by day? But if we look right in the Shulchan Aruch, right in the book of kind of Jewish law, it says Chayav Adam Mikro Megillah Balayla, that you have to read the Megillah at night. Not just are you allowed to, but it's an obligation. Read the Megillah by night, and then and you are even supposed to go back the next day and read it by day. So what is that all about? Why is, of all the books of the Bible, all of the books of the Haftorah, and all the books that we read all year round, there is just one book that we read, one book of the Bible that we read at night, and that is the Megillah. What is the connection, Megillah and night? Second question, let's take a quick look at the Megillah. Something very, very strange about it. We all know that the name of the king in the Megillah is, we look at the king, his name is Achashverosh. But let's take a look at the very beginning of the Megillah. It says it was in the days of Achashverosh. He was Achashverosh, Hamalech Mihodu Vad Kush. The days of Achashverosh. And it doesn't even say he's a king. He ruled, but it doesn't say that he's a king. It doesn't call him a king until later on in the chapter. So he's not even a king. On the other hand, let's take a quick look. I mean, let me just reiterate that just for a second. It doesn't say who his parents were, royalty. It doesn't give any kind of royal pedigree. No pedigree at all. It just says Achashverosh. But then if we go down and we take a look, there is actually somebody who is called a ruler, and that is, look, Vashti. It says, Gam Vashti Hamalka Asata Mishte Nashim, that in addition, Queen Vashti gave a banquet for women. So Queen Vashti is named as a queen, but King Achashverosh is not even named as a king at all. So what's up with that? And it gets even weirder, because when we go down into, we first identify one of the heroes of our story, Mordechai and Esther. It says, Mordechai, and then it gives his whole lineage. Mordechai, ben Yair, the son of Yair, ben Shimi, the son of Shimi, ben Kish, the son of Kish. Now what's weird is, from the house of Kish, Kish is the royal house of the tribe of Benjamin. Mordechai seems to be royalty, but we don't know that. It's concealed. Achashverosh, the king, is no king. But this lowly Jew, Mordechai, somehow is related to a kingly lineage. And on top of that, Hadassah, Esther, same thing. Royalty, the royal house. How do we understand all this? And then finally, let's go and take a look at the villain, right? After these things, Yidel HaMelech Achashverosh et Haman ben Hamdata HaAgagi. Achashverosh promoted Haman, the son of Hamdata, the Agagite. Oh, the Agagite. Yeah, sure. I know what an Agagite was. An Agagite restaurant the other day. What is an Agagite? Why do we have to know this? Well, it turns out that this is also a royal house, the royal house of Amalek, the ancestral enemy of the Jewish people. So we have a king who is no king. We have a Mordechai who is of the royal family. We have Vashti of a royal family, the royal family of Persian Babylonia. And we have Haman, royalty. There's strangeness. And yet the royals are in service to the non-royal. How does this even work? Fourth question. We all know that the whole thing about the whole conflict is right? That everybody, all the courtiers in the palace bow to Haman, right? Because lo hamelech, because the king commanded him that. Commanded who exactly? The king commanded Haman that everybody should bow down to him. So there was some kind of private conversation that Haman has with the king, and Haman manages to wheedle out of the king that everyone should bow to him. Haman, not clear, but we do know this. Mordechai lo yichra v'lo yishtachaveh. But Mordechai will not bow and will not prostrate himself to Haman. And that seems to be the root of it. I mean, who's to know that Haman would go completely bonkers and try to kill not just Mordechai, but all of Mordechai's people. But why won't Mordechai bow? What's going on in this story? Mystery after mystery, question upon question, people disguised as kings and kings disguised as ordinary people. What is going on? And of course, the last question, what does any of it matter? What does any of it matter? The Jewish people has been through lots of trials and tribulations, lots of existential conflicts where the survival of the people was at stake. Why this story of all stories, this story that we tell at night, filled with characters who are not as they seem, filled with disguises, and maybe the ultimate disguise, God's presence. Where is God in this story that comes from the Bible? Stay tuned for part 2. We will try to answer these questions. Happy Purim.